If your eyes are the windows to your soul and your glasses are the windows to your eyes, then it's pretty important to find your perfect frames. That's why at Warby Parker, we've made shopping for eyewear as easy and fun as can be. Peruse endless styles in our stores or use our app to virtually try on frames and get personalized recommendations. To find your next favorite pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to locate your nearest Warby Parker store, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 441 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing excellent, except for you and I are still experiencing back problems.
Yeah, we're nursing some injured backs, but we'll be all right.
Doesn't really affect the podcasting that much, you know.
As long as we don't have to move around.
Yeah, which you don't move a lot when you're talking into a microphone. Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had True Pearson.
Hey, True.
Beth Lasitra.
Well, thanks, Beth.
Samantha Gardner jumped out at our highest level.
There's Samantha. We love it.
Jen Holyfield.
Hey, Jen.
Tess T. Coles.
Well, Testy.
Rhonda Holly Chappelle.
Hey, Rhonda.
Jason Manwaring.
What's happening, Jason?
Yvonne LaRoche Pardo.
Yvonne.
And last but not least, Kristen Chesnick.
Well, that's awesome, Kristen.
And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Natasha Carter.
Well, thanks, Natasha.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support. We also got a great PayPal donation from Emily Check.
Well, Emily, appreciate that.
So we have a new episode out right now on True Crime All the Time, where we're talking about Marie Robards. Marie was a 16-year-old who poisoned her father so that she could go back and live with her mother. And you know, this is such a twisting, kind of fascinating case where she claimed she just thought it would make him sick. It killed him. And, you know, we get into all the details.
Yes, we do.
All right, buddy. Are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am.
We're actually tackling a really big case here, a well-known case. 21-year-old Maura Murray went missing from Haverhill, New Hampshire on February 9, 2004, moments after crashing her car in the snow. Over 20 years later, there is still no trace of her. And like I said, this is a well-known case. I mean, whole podcasts have been dedicated to this one unsolved case alone. It's also a case that many follow online.
They do.
Right? Amateur sleuths and people like that. Maura Murray was born on May 4th, 1982 in Brockton, Massachusetts. She was the youngest daughter of Fred and Laura Murray. Fred worked as a medical technician and Lori was a nurse. They divorced when Maura was 6. Maura grew up in Hanson, a small town on the South Shore of Massachusetts, with her siblings, Fred Jr., Kathleen, Julie, and Curtis. Maura was described as an overachiever, quick-witted, intelligent, and athletic. She excelled in both school and athletics.
Pretty competitive family, I'm guessing. You know, when you grow up with a bunch of brothers and sisters, it's always going to be somewhat competitive around the house.
Yeah, competitive for food, competitive to see who gets the best grades, who's the best in sports, stuff,
Absolutely.
you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In high school, Maura took AP classes and tutored other students. She was in the Latin Club and National Honors Society.
Man, I loved those clubs when I went to school.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a Latin club. I was in the National Honor Society, although I think that was just a money grab. I really don't know.
I was in NHS as well.
Were you? Maura made the varsity basketball team as a freshman. And, that's a big deal. Depending on the size of the school, the quality of players, most people do not make the varsity basketball team, men or women, as a true freshman.
No, that's true.
As a sophomore, she qualified for U.S. Nationals in track and finished 33rd in the country for the 2-mile race.
Oh, man, that's impressive.
It's very impressive. First of all, I don't think anyone should be racing 2 miles. I don't even know that I could. I don't even think I could jog 2 miles. I certainly wouldn't be racing other individuals for that length. But I think all of that just gives you a real snapshot of what an athlete she really was. She enjoyed hiking and watching her older sister's track meets at West Point. Maura graduated 4th in her class. She had recruiting letters from Harvard and Yale, but she chose to follow in her sister's footsteps and attend West Point.
That's pretty prestigious.
All of those, right? I mean, she had, you would have to say, kind of her pick of some of the upper echelon schools.
Well, when you excel at athletics, but also academia,
it helps.
Yeah, you can pretty much kind of write your own ticket, right?
Yeah. Maura did well during her first year, but she experienced some trouble during her sophomore year. She stole $5 worth of makeup from the Post Exchange. Her sister asked her why she did it, and Maura had no explanation. She had to appear before the honor committee, who would decide her punishment. And that's the thing about going to one of the service academies, right? I mean, it's not like your local in-state college.
Right. It's a different standard.
There's a much different standard. But Maura also had something else on her mind. West Point cadets take an oath, committing to 5 years of military service. And that's a big commitment.
It is. You do your time at the university, get your degree, and then now it's time to go follow through on your commitment.
With the pending honor committee decision and the decision over whether to join the military, Maura decided to leave West Point and attend nursing school at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. This was Maura's first true college experience. Maura attended nursing school and participated in cross country and track. At UMass, Maura was closer to home, so she could go hiking with her dad and brothers. She made new friends, but also maintained her old friendships from West Point and high school.
Well, maybe she feels more comfortable being closer to home and just a different arrangement being at UMass versus West Point.
Well, I think obviously she probably decided she didn't want to do the 5 years of military service. I think that had to have played into it. By 2004, Maura was participating in clinical rotations that were part of her junior year curriculum. To make extra money, she worked at an art gallery and worked for dorm security. Maura was in a long-distance relationship with Billy Roush, whom she met at West Point. Maura's mother, Lori, told the Daily Collegian in August 2004 that Maura and Billy's relationship was a very, very good relationship. Billy's mother, Sharon, echoed this in a statement. She said there was a point where the relationship was rocky in 2002, but the couple resolved their problems. And I mean, hey, what relationship doesn't have some, rocky moments?
Yeah, you're going to have that, especially long distance relationships.
Those are tough.
They are.
Those are very tough. I think what is interesting here is that both Maura's mother and Billy's mother are saying essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
They had a really good relationship. Maura planned to spend the summer with Billy and may have already known he intended to propose. According to Maura's sister, Julie, Maura was struggling with an eating disorder, which may have been the catalyst for the series of decisions she made before her disappearance. On February 5th, 2004, Maura was working her shift at campus security when she got a call from her older sister, Kathleen, that left her visibly distraught. According to Julie, Kathleen told Maura her fiance picked her up from rehab and drove to a liquor store. Kathleen struggles with alcohol addiction. And that would be a pretty terrible thing to do.
What, pick you up from rehab and then drive you right to
a liquor store?
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems like kind of bad fiance material there.
It's like, I'm here to support you and get you through this, but I got to stop off at a liquor store before we get home.
You can't have any, but I'm going to get some for myself.
Yeah, it's not good.
Maura's supervisor reported that she stared down at her desk, muttering indiscernibly. She asked if there was a family emergency, but Maura responded, "No, nothing to do with me." Her supervisor asked again and told Maura she was worried. Maura replied, "No reason to leave. It's my sister, not me." The supervisor asked if something happened to her sister. Maura said, "It's my sister's problem, not mine." But she began shaking and crying silently.
It's interesting how different drama affects people. You know, some people would have to get up and leave right away and go find their sister and talk to them or
try to help with the situation.
Yeah. Other people will, want to stay away from that, while other people will have their own breakdown because they're shocked that this is happening again. And how are you going to deal with that? It's just, everybody's different.
Well, yeah, I would say that's absolutely correct. Everybody deals with situations different. The supervisor tried to get Maura to see a counselor, but she refused. She agreed to leave work early and seemed distressed when she left. That weekend, Maura's father, Fred, came up from Connecticut to help Maura get a new car. Her 1996 Saturn had blown a cylinder and apparently was smoking something fierce. He warned her she would get pulled over if she drove it like that. Yeah, never a good idea to drive your car when it's smoking visibly.
You don't want to do that.
As a temporary fix, Fred suggested she put a rag inside the tailpipe to hide the smoke. He withdrew $4,000 over 8 different ATM transactions, and on Saturday took Maura to buy a car in Northampton. They were a couple of $1,000s short, so Fred decided to go home, get more money, and come back another time.
Well, first, shoving a rag in the tailpipe's not a good suggestion.
It's really not a good idea.
No. But then the fact that poor Fred, man, he's got to go around to 8 different ATMs to try to get some money out.
That darn ATM limit.
I know it. It even frustrates me.
Fred and Maura returned to campus and had dinner in Amherst with one of Maura's friends. Maura dropped Fred off at his hotel and drove his new Toyota Corolla to a party where she drank with friends. She left the party at 2:30 a.m. and started driving back to Fred's hotel. At 3:30 a.m., while driving through Hadley, she crashed into a guardrail. The police arrived, but no charges were filed. However, Maura caused almost $10,000 worth of damage.
Well, that's not going to go over well.
Well, you said poor Fred. We're adding to Fred's discomfort here. Right? He's got to help her buy a new car. Now his car is smashed to you-know-what. Maura told Fred about the car crash the following morning. She told him she went around a corner, hit some sand, and skidded into a guardrail. She was not breathalyzed and did not receive a ticket.
Which was good. I mean, she's lucky.
Yeah, because a DUI or a DWI would have been even worse. Fred recalled that Maura fell back and seemed upset because she let him down. When they returned to Maura's dorm, Fred told her, "I'll get it fixed." And I don't know who wouldn't be, upset about that if you wrecked your mom or your dad's car and caused that much damage.
Well, I mean, what a good way to handle it, He just said, "I'll get it fixed."
As a dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah, you could get volatile, you could yell, but I mean, what's it really going to accomplish?
Yeah.
Fred learned the insurance company would pay for the damage as long as Maura picked up the proper forms from the Registry of Motor Vehicles, which she promised to do. Maura's sister Julie said in her podcast, The Untold Story of Maura Murray, as quoted by People magazine, "My dad was disappointed, but there was nothing he could do or say that would be harsher than what Maura told herself. She hated to disappoint my dad, and she was her own worst critic. She never wanted to burden anybody, and I know she beat herself up over crashing my dad's car."
And I get that. I can see how certain individuals would react that way, right? My dad's everything to me. I let him down. I can't believe I did this, and just keep running it through your head over and over again of the mistakes and errors you made.
Well, I think there's people like that. Then there's other people that are like, so what?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure.
You got a lot of different types of individuals. As the air turns crisp and the holidays draw near, comfort becomes the best gift of all. Quince delivers layers that last. We're talking sweaters, outerwear, and everyday essentials that feel luxurious, look timeless, and make holiday dressing and gifting effortless. By working directly with ethical top-tier factories, Quince skips the middlemen and offers prices 50% less than similar brands. And my wife and I have been ordering a lot of stuff from Quince lately. Their joggers are my absolute go-to. But the one thing I'll say is that everything we've ordered has been amazing, and it looks and feels like it cost way more than it did. Step into the holiday season with layers made to feel good, look polished, and last. From Quince. Perfect for gifting or keeping for yourself. Go to quince.com/truecrime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/truecrime to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/truecrime. Hey folks, my wife has been taking Happy Mammoth's prebiotic collagen protein, and it's been a real game changer. This isn't just any collagen. It's specifically formulated with prebiotics that help nourish the gut lining and support digestive comfort. Most collagen powders on the market only focus on skin, hair, and nails. Happy Mammoth's prebiotic collagen protein goes a step further. It combines grass-fed collagen peptides with prebiotic fibers to help nourish your gut bacteria. This unique blend means you're not just taking collagen, you're giving your body a complete gut and wellness boost. And because your gut plays a key role in how your body feels every day, supporting it with the right nutrition can make a meaningful difference. My wife has dealt with occasional digestive discomfort for years. And since adding prebiotic collagen protein, she's saying she's noticed a real lift in energy and overall well-being. Happy Mammoth uses only science-backed ingredients formulated for women. They never compromise on quality, and that really shows in the benefits their customers experience. Right now, you can try prebiotic collagen protein risk-free and get 15% off your first order with code UNSOLVED at checkout. That's happymammoth.com. Use code UNSOLVED for 15% off today. According to Julie, one sign that Maura was in distress were her late-night calls for food. We mentioned it, right? Maura struggled with an eating disorder, which gave her a sense of control. Julie believes she binged that night. Maura went missing on February 9th, 2004. At 3:32 a.m., Maura submitted her nursing homework electronically. Her search history showed over a dozen entries for rental properties in Vermont, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. But she didn't make a booking. Before 1 p.m. on February 9th, Maura called the owner of a condo rental in Bartlett, New Hampshire. This place had significance to Maura because she had vacationed here with her family before. She also called 1-800-GO-STOW, but did not make a reservation at one of the hotels in the area. And this is the official tourism website for Stowe, Vermont.
Well, clearly she wanted to go somewhere. She wanted to get away for a little bit.
That's what it seems like, right? I don't know how else you would take these searches, these calls. Maura sent an email to her boyfriend, Billy, that said, "I love you more, stud. I got your messages. I didn't feel like talking to much of anyone. I promised to call today, though. Love you, Maura." Hours later, she left Billy a voicemail promising to talk. She emailed her professors and supervisors, falsely informing them there had been a death in her family. One of her last correspondences on her devices occurred around 2 p.m. Maura emailed her supervisor that she would be out for a week due to a death in her family, although, as I just said, there had not been a death. And this is, part of the mystery.
Yeah, why did she make those calls?
Well, that in combination with saying she had a death in the family, and then you add the looking at, places to rent or places to stay, it makes it seem, like you said, she's trying to get away for a while. According to the police report, Maura picked up several important forms that needed to be filled out, such as accident papers for her father's car, indicating she possibly planned to see him and give them to him. She also picked up forms to reinstate her suspended license after she was pulled over for excessive speeding. Both forms were later found in her car. Maura packed a bag of toiletries, makeup, workout clothes, school books, and several days of outfits. At 3:15 p.m., she stopped at an off-campus ATM and withdrew $280, which was almost all of the money in her account. She stopped at a liquor store and purchased $40 worth of alcohol. She traded in 79 bottles and cans for $3.99 in store credit. So again, to me, this all kind of fits in with she's going somewhere.
Yeah, she's planning to take a trip.
Maura checked her voicemail at 4:37 p.m., which was her last known call. She left the Amherst area around 4:30 and drove her 1996 Saturn north to New Hampshire. Maura didn't tell anyone about these plans or why she was going to New Hampshire. Many believe she was taking some time off school to deal with the stress of the recent car crash. And I had that thought too, right? She's got a lot going on. She has first the thing with her sister, then she wrecks her dad's car. This could have been for her, and likely would have been, a very stressful time. You could see somebody in the midst of all of this just saying, you know what? I need a week, man. I need to get out of here. I need to go stay somewhere and decompress.
Yeah, get grounded.
At 7:30 p.m., Maura was driving on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. As she was trying to get through a curve, her car slid off the snowy road and became stuck in a ditch. At 7:27 p.m., a woman named Faith Westman, a resident of Haverhill, called the police to report that there was an accident near her home and a car was stuck in a ditch. Faith Westman thought she saw what looked like a man smoking a cigarette in the car, but her husband later said it could have been a woman on a cell phone. Another neighbor also called the police and reported that the car's lights were flashing and a woman was walking around the vehicle. The witnesses said the woman appeared frightened but physically unharmed.
Well, that could be a frightening event, sliding off the road, being stuck in a ditch.
Yeah, I mean, to me, just losing control of the car going around a corner, that's scary. But then losing it to the point where, you kind of fly into a bank or get stuck in a ditch and then you can't get it out, that just adds to the fright and the concern.
And then on top of that, I know I would be thinking, well, shit, I just wrecked my dad's car not too long ago. Now this, what are you trying to do to me?
Not to mention the fact that she might have been thinking, hey, I got $40 worth of alcohol in here somewhere.
That's true too, yeah.
What are they going to think? Shortly after this, bus driver Butch Atwood drove by and talked to a woman fitting Maura's description. He offered help and asked if she needed him to call the police. She declined and told him she'd already called AAA. Atwood thought this was strange because cell reception in the area was very weak or non-existent. He drove to his house, which was about 100 yards east, within view of the accident, and called the police at 7:42 p.m. When asked if the woman appeared injured, Atwood said she appeared shaken up and the airbags had deployed in her car, but he didn't see any blood. When the first police officer arrived at 7:46 p.m., Maura was gone. The officer noted that the car was locked, the windshield was cracked, and the airbags deployed. There was a box of red wine behind the driver's seat. There were red stains on the ceiling and door that appeared to be wine, and a Coke bottle that appeared to have a red liquid in it. The officer also noted a rag stuffed in Maura's tailpipe. Maura's school books were also found in her vehicle, along with a MapQuest printout of directions to Burlington, Vermont, medication, clothes, makeup, a stuffed animal, a necklace from her boyfriend, and her favorite book, Not Without Peril, 150 Years of Misadventure on the Presidential Range of New Hampshire.
Well, that is a fascinating book.
I have never heard of it. It seems like a strange one to be someone's favorite book. But let's go back to this wine, right? Because I said, would she have some concerns about having $40 worth of liquor in her car? Now it appears as though she was, drinking boxed wine out of a
Pepsi.
Coke bottle.
Yeah, Coke bottle.
So I think you're going to have even more concerns if you had been drinking in the car when you wrecked.
And it might have been the reason why she said, hey, I called AAA. Don't call the police.
Yeah, absolutely. It also might be the reason why she wasn't there, right, when the police showed up. But this book tells the story of over a dozen hiking tragedies in the White Mountains. Maura grew up hiking the mountains with her dad. Maura's sister Julie said about the book, as quoted by People, the book was all about the mountains we had climbed. It was fascinating, and it became her favorite book. She read it multiple times. It had a lot of significance to her. So if she was trying to get away to clear her head, she would have brought that book along with her for sure. And it's not just what was in her car. I like to draw people's attention to the actions she was taking the day she disappeared, including turning in a homework assignment, picking the accident form she promised to get from my dad, emailing her professors, and recycling 79 cans and bottles. In my mind, those don't seem like the things you do if you were trying to go and disappear forever. And I never thought that ever.
It does sound like someone trying to finish up some loose ends before they go out of town.
Yeah, because I get the thinking. If you're planning on disappearing, why do you need to do any of that?
Yeah, why would you mess around with 79 bottles for a lousy $3 back?
And I'm certainly not turning my homework in.
No.
I barely did that when I was still on campus.
I don't even know what homework is.
That's because you went straight from high school to adjunct professor.
Well,
you were giving out the homework, not doing the homework.
Somebody had to do it.
Jeff Strelzin, chief of homicide with the New Hampshire AG's office, said about the accident site per Boston Magazine, it was obvious that she had been drinking. And it does sound that way, right? You have this boxed wine. You've got red stains in the car. You've got this bottle full of red liquid that I'm sure at some point they determined was wine. Pretty hard not to believe that someone's drinking that in the car. There was no sign of a struggle or foul play. Police found no footprints heading off the road into the woods. According to the Maura Murray missing website, the responding officer asked Butch Atwood, the bus driver, for assistance in locating Maura, and he suggested he drive west of the accident and search some of the roads in the French Pond area. A state trooper also responded to the scene and searched the roads west of the accident site. Fire and EMS arrived, but EMS was dismissed within minutes because there was no one present to treat.
But they didn't want to hang around and help maybe try to locate her?
Well, I'm assuming they probably had to get ready to be called to do their actual job.
Yeah.
Because it's the same with the firefighters, right? The firefighters, there were 8 of them. They searched briefly, but fairly quickly returned to the fire station. Because at some point you're going to get called, you got to go put out a fire.
Yeah.
If you're EMS, you're going to get called, you got to go save someone.
But for me, this is an emergency situation.
Is it? because you don't know that it is.
Well, at that time, that's
at
right.
that time.
You don't know. You're like, okay, someone wandered off from their vehicle. Did they get picked up from somebody?
Right. And that's the thing, right? Over 20 years later now, okay, we can start to assess it, but in the heat of the moment, what do these people really know?
Well, that's true.
A car's off the road, cracked windshields, the airbags deployed. It looks like someone was drinking in the car.
And she said AAA was on the way.
Yeah. However, per the Maura Murray website, as far as anyone is aware, no one searched east of the accident scene. A contractor who was passing through Route 112 that night later reported seeing a young person moving eastbound on foot a few miles from the crash site, but the sighting wasn't reported for several months. Search dogs searched a half-mile radius around the accident and helicopters deployed overhead, but no trace of Maura was found. So there were some resources deployed. There's no doubt about that. Search dogs, they got helicopters up there. There was some searches done, but they didn't find any trace of Maura. When you're buried in credit card and loan debt, it's human nature to put it off and say, well, I'll deal with it later. If that's you, here's a hidden fact. The debt strategy experts at Done With Debt shared with me, they discovered a little known strategy that works in your favor to dramatically reduce or even erase your debt altogether. They aggressively engage everyone you owe money to this fall. And here's why. They know which lenders and credit card companies are doing year-end accounting and need to cut deals. They even know which ones have year-end audits and need to get your debt off their books. That means you need to get started with Done With Debt now, this fall. Done With Debt accomplishes this without bankruptcy or new loans. In fact, most clients end up with more money in their pocket the first month. Get started now while you still have time. Go to donewithdebt.com and talk with one of their specialists for free. Visit donewithdebt.com. Donewithdebt.com. You know, folks, the holiday season can be stressful. Endless shopping, travel, parties every weekend. When I need to slow down and actually relax, I reach for Sol's out-of-office gummies. The perfect balance of CBD and THC helps me find my calm and keep my peace of mind. Sol is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Sol specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe. From a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. Take advantage of Sol's Black Friday Cyber Monday deal now. For a limited time, get 40% off your entire order. Go to getsol.com and use the code TrueCrime. That's getsol.com, promo code TrueCrime for 40% off. Don't miss their best deal of the year. Maura's case soon made national headlines. Fred Murray appeared on CNN on February 17th. He told anchor Soledad O'Brien that while traveling, he received a voicemail. He said, I could only hear breathing, and then towards the end of the voicemail, I heard what was apparent to be crying, and then a whimper, which I'm certain was Maura. And man, Gibbs, what a nightmare here for obviously Maura's family, but I'm kind of thinking of her dad in particular. He's really trying to help her out in the days before this happened.
Right.
Tries to buy her a new car, is set to buy her a new car, allows her to drive his car, which I think was new or pretty new. But this voicemail in the wake of her going missing, this would be a really haunting voicemail, right? I mean, how could you make anything other than that out of it?
And it's going to be something that will always stick with you.
Yeah. It turned out that the number was from a prepaid calling card. Early on, Maura's family claimed the police made critical errors and allegedly lied to the media. According to the Massachusetts Daily Collegian, neither the New Hampshire State Police nor the Haverhill Police questioned anyone who lived in the vicinity of the accident until 36 hours after Maura disappeared.
It seems like a potential issue. Why wouldn't you want to canvass the area?
Yeah, again, does it go back to, what did they make of this scene? But then you think about some of the resources that were deployed, right? There were people who did searches. There were search dogs. There were helicopters. That makes me think, okay, they took this pretty seriously. So knowing that, why would they also not talk to all the neighbors?
So if you're going to do all that, why wouldn't you talk to people that live near the scene of the accident?
Yeah, you could understand why the family would look at that with, some suspicion, or it would make them upset. Fred Murray was angry that the police didn't immediately alert other departments along Route 112 about Maura's disappearance, that they hadn't interviewed all residents within eyeshot of the accident, and that they waited months to speak to the people Maura last spoke to, including the owner of the rental condo. Fred was even more upset when 2 days after Maura disappeared, the Haverhill police issued a press release claiming Maura was possibly suicidal.
Oh, man. As a father, I would not be happy about that.
No, if you thought your daughter was in danger, right, that something had happened to her, that is really going to tick you off. First of all, you got to ask the question, where's it coming from?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about what her sister said, days up to the point of her disappearance, she was turning homework in. She was cashing in bottles and cans. She was picking up important paperwork. Why would she do that if she didn't want to be here anymore?
Julie said that in 2004, the family conceded Maura could have been suicidal and shared that she was known to suffer bouts of depression, but as more evidence came to light, their opinion changed. Several details showed Maura had no intention of ending her life or running away. One of the most important pieces of evidence was the accident form from the Registry of Motor Vehicles that Maura promised to collect for her dad. And right, you just mentioned it. If you have intentions of doing either, right, ending your life or running away forever, why in the world would you go pick up these forms?
Yeah.
That makes no sense at all, because you're never going to turn them in or turn them over to your dad. So that would just be, wasted effort.
Right.
Fred Murray's main frustration was that police refused to investigate scenario number 4. For him, that was that Maura was abducted. The other theories were that Maura left of her own volition, meaning, she ran away, died of suicide, or died of hypothermia.
I mean, look, it's cold out. You're walking away from an accident scene.
Possibly impaired.
Yep. Someone comes along and says, hey, do you need a ride? It's warm inside here. I can get you to where you need to be. You're probably going to say, yeah, let me jump in. Now, is that a good person or a bad person you just got in the car with?
But again, if you're a dad, if you're a parent, and you do not believe that the police have investigated that angle whatsoever, you're definitely going to be frustrated.
But you haven't found her body. You don't know where her whereabouts are. So what's the problem with going down that path?
I mean, yeah, the only thing I can think of is, and this does happen, right? Police come up with a theory. They kind of get a little bit of tunnel vision on that theory. Having a theory is fine. I think the problem is when it excludes all other possibilities, and therefore those possibilities aren't looked into. That's where people get upset.
Yeah.
In a June 2004 interview with WCVB TV, Lieutenant John Scarinza, the state police officer in charge of the investigation, claimed authorities found a note in Maura's dorm room that she wrote to her boyfriend, indicating troubles in their relationship. Scarinza said, sometime between Sunday and Monday morning, she packed up all her belongings in her dorm room, to include taking all her pictures off the walls, taking everything out of her bureaus, and putting them in boxes, and she left them on her bed. She left a personal note to her boyfriend on top of the boxes. Early police reports led Julie to believe Maura's dorm room was packed up before she left. However, Julie later theorized that Maura had never actually unpacked after moving into a new room just 12 days before she disappeared.
Now, look, that can happen. I mean, I'm guilty of that. You know, when I moved into the house I live in now, it took me a pretty good amount of time before I unpacked things because it was easy for me just to live out of a box or two, a duffel bag here.
Just get it out of the box as you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of that too. I mean, how many weeks in a row have you come here and seen the same box?
These boxes right here?
Yeah. They're still there. I mean, I could do something with them. I could empty them.
But why?
Yeah.
They're not hurting anything. We can step over them.
But that's such an interesting revelation, right? It's easy to look at something and think, well, obviously it means this.
Right.
But then when you find out that she had just moved in X amount of days before disappearing, well, then maybe you think she just hasn't unpacked.
Yeah.
It's not that she packed all of her stuff. Maura's brother, Curtis, and her mother, Lori, visited Maura before she went missing. And Curtis said Maura had made some progress unpacking between their visit and the day she went missing. Fred Murray noted that the floors of the dorm building were cleaned over Christmas break, which explained why some of Maura's things were still in boxes. Billy Roush visited Maura's dorm 2 days after she went missing. He didn't find any notes or letters left for him per the Massachusetts Daily Collegian. So, you know, we've got some discrepancies.
Sure do.
Between, you know, some of the things that police are saying or putting in their reports and then what the family is experiencing.
I mean, if there's a note for Billy, shouldn't it be there for him to see? Or shouldn't the police say, oh, we have this note we found and we've kept it here at the station?
Unless they left it in the dorm and somebody else took it. But then you got to ask who would do that. What would be the reasoning behind it? Fred Murray also claimed that the police gave search dogs a new pair of unworn gloves found in the back seat of the car to pick up a scent, instead of something more identifiable, like Maura's running shoes. He also alleged that on the night of the accident, the police failed to search the direction Maura was headed. Fred told Boston Magazine, I knew she was headed east. She was headed to Bartlett. She was up there as an infant. It's freezing cold. There's a crack in the windshield. There's a potential head injury. There's arguably evidence of drinking, which would promote hypothermia. A young person in a state of shock, you have danger. And you don't go down the street the way she was going. And I got to be honest with you, the guy is bringing up some very valid points.
Yeah. Almost common sense stuff.
It is common sense stuff. On May 21st, 2004, Fred Murray sent a letter to the governor of New Hampshire, asking him to persuade the state police to receive assistance from the FBI in the search for Maura. He never received a response.
Man, that's shameful right there.
Yeah, I think it's shameful that he didn't at least get a response. Now, is this something that the FBI could get involved in? I don't know. Does it meet their criteria? Fred put in a FOIA request to get more information about the investigation. He also traveled to New Hampshire almost every weekend in 2004. He spent time in local bars, hoping to overhear someone saying something about Maura. And I just think this shows, you know, the lengths that a parent will go to. You know, if your child is missing, and I don't care how old they are, for most of us, there's very little we wouldn't do to try to locate them.
Yeah, because at this point you're thinking, I have no body, so I don't know what happened to her. Did she get a ride at one point, ended up somewhere different? Did she walk to somewhere where she wanted to go and she's living a different life?
Without ever contacting anyone.
Right. Or being recognized. Or did she unfortunately die out there and just has never been recovered?
Yeah, I can't even imagine trying to deal with that situation.
Yeah.
Sharon Roush, Billy's mother, reviewed Maura's phone records in October 2004, She was able to do this because the phone was given to Maura by Billy and was purchased in Sharon's name. Sharon found the last two numbers Maura called 3 hours before she disappeared. The first number was to a UMass dorm. The number appeared to be a dead end because the person who lived there had likely moved. Sharon called the second number, which belonged to Dominic and Linda Salamoni of Wakefield, Massachusetts. They owned a condo in Bartlett, New Hampshire, part of the same condo association the Murrays vacationed with in the past. The Salamoni said the police never contacted them, and they didn't learn of their connection to Maura's disappearance until Sharon called them 8 months later.
Wow. Now, is that acceptable?
Yeah, I mean, we're saying a lot of things here that don't make the police in this investigation look great, but I don't think they did a great job. I mean, you're telling me they couldn't get her phone records and do this digging, find out the number she called prior to her disappearance, and obviously they would have ended up talking to this couple. That never happened.
No.
So you have to question the investigation just based off, some of these things we know. In 2005, Fred Murray sued the state police in an attempt to make all reports pertaining to the investigation public. In 2014, former reporter and freelance journalist James Renner published a book on Maura's case. And we've met James, right? He's at CrimeCon.
Yep.
And this is a case that, he's spent a lot of time on. There's no doubt about that. During his investigation, he discovered that 3 months before her disappearance, police officers came to Maura's dorm on account of $79.02 she spent on pizza delivery with a stolen credit card number. Reports indicated the charges would be dropped under the condition that Maura stay out of trouble. Through his research, Renner came to believe Maura ran away on her own. He also questioned whether Fred knew more than he was letting on, such as why Maura went to New Hampshire. After hearing about the accusatory posts on Renner's blog, Fred refused to cooperate for the book. True Crime All the Time Unsolved is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game, shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping that it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. In 2014, Fred told Boston Magazine that Maura had no reason to run away. She had things going for her. She was going to be a nurse. She was getting a new car, a 3-year-old car the very next Saturday. She was getting married soon. She was getting great marks. And I get that. I mean, I think most parents would have a hard time saying, yeah, I could see why my child would willingly want to run away.
Right.
Now, I'm sure there are some situations where, someone has a lot of issues going on. Did Maura Murray have some issues going on? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sounded like it.
But were they that much different than what a lot of us went through at that age or what people go through now at that age or at any age? Once you're out of the house. No, I don't know that they are. I don't know that I've heard anything, Gibbs, that would make me think, oh my gosh, I would have to just run away.
And disappear.
From these things in my life.
Yeah, because I stole something little when I was at West Point, and I've did some credit card fraud over here with pizza and whatever else. So I better just disappear and my family can forget about me.
I can say I did a lot worse things in college.
Well, I can say the same thing about you.
I will freely admit to that. I'm not going to say exactly what all it was, but I'm glad Columbia House never came knocking on my door. Let's just say that.
Good old Columbia House, man.
I get it, right? Renner has his own theories, just like a lot of people have their own theories in this case. But, when Fred doesn't agree with those theories, you could see why he's probably not going to want to cooperate on a book that's being written. In the years since Maura's disappearance, one of the few leads the family has received was a knife given to Fred in late 2004. It was rusted and stained with a reddish-brown color that resembled blood and was turned over by a man who claimed his brother killed Maura and buried her remains under his home. The man has never been publicly identified, but his sibling lived a short distance from the crash site. The tipster said that the sibling had a history of violence, and he and his girlfriend were acting strangely. After Maura disappeared, the knife was found in the glove box of his brother's car. And then several days after the knife was turned in, the brother allegedly scrapped the car. And again, I keep putting myself, I guess, in the position of Fred. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where my daughter is. I feel as though the police haven't done what I think they should have done.
Right.
And now somebody gives me a knife and says that their brother killed my daughter. I mean, you talk about roller coaster of emotions in these cases that the victims' families go through. I mean, this is all part of it.
Well, now you have this knife that might have blood on it. Clearly, you're going to want to get it tested to see, one, if it is blood. Two, does the blood on the knife match her blood?
Well, Fred mailed the knife to the headquarters and a statement with allegations against the brother. Within days, Fred got a receipt that his package was received, but the family was left in the dark about the knife and the potential suspect. And again, frustrating. Now, I get it. Police might not be able to give out certain information, but that would still be frustrating for the family.
Yeah.
In 2024, Julie told the U.S. Sun that the family finally received some clarity on the knife. She said they recently acknowledged that they did, in fact, test the knife, but we don't know if the knife itself was tested recently or if it was tested years ago, and we're only finding out now. She declined to comment when asked if the state police confirmed the results of the test in order to avoid jeopardizing her relationship with law enforcement. She added, "What I can say is that the knife was tested for Maura's DNA." And that's a very interesting statement because to me, I think a logical conclusion from that is that it didn't match. If it did match, I would think they'd be trying to charge somebody.
Yeah. But why did it take 20 years to find this out?
Well, again, she said she doesn't know. Maybe they knew it way back when they first got it, they tested it, and they knew it didn't match. Now, we're assuming it didn't match. If for some reason it was a match to Maura's DNA, then I guess it would mean they just haven't been able to put a case together.
Yeah.
You would think that would be a tougher conclusion to draw, though. The man who turned in the knife has since died. Other members of the tipster's family accused him of making up the story to obtain a reward, citing a history of drug use. So again, there's a whole path here where the knife was tested. They didn't find anything. They looked into it. This guy wasn't credible. You could definitely see how that could happen as well.
Oh, of course. I think the problem for me on this one is just it took them so long to get back to the family.
Yeah, it's a very long time for the family to be wondering about this knife. What does it mean? Julie said the family asked the sibling if they could search his home in Woodsville, a village of Haverhill, but they never got permission. After the property was sold years later, the new homeowners allowed Fred to search with cadaver dogs. The dogs alerted strongly to the scent of decomposed remains in a closet in the basement. Investigators took some items from the home into evidence, including a sample from the carpet in the closet. All right. I don't know what you make of that. Also, if you bought a house, Gibbs, and some people came and said, "Hey, would you allow us to search for a missing person, possibly a deceased individual?" What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be freaky.
It would be. I mean, I think on the one hand, you want to help the family out.
Sure, yeah.
But do you really want them digging up your yard? Or, I mean, if it's just dogs searching, I mean, you wouldn't do it because of all the other contraband that you would obviously have in your house by that point.
Yeah, there would have to be some legal papers drawn up.
Yeah. Or some movement to your off-site public storage facility.
Exactly.
Ground penetrating radar used by private citizens also showed the ground under the basement had been disturbed.
I mean, this is interesting.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think if you're the family, you have to believe that they're onto something here. On April 3rd, 2019, the owners granted state police and the FBI permission to search the basement, but no remains were found. Associate Attorney General Jeffrey Strelzin told the media at the time, what happened today is that a team of over a dozen agents and detectives went into that basement. They cut that area, removed the concrete, and then searched several feet down and covered the area and beyond where that disturbed ground had been. And they located absolutely nothing other than a small piece of what looks to be potentially pottery or maybe a piece of old piping. Strelzin said authorities looked at videos taken during the dog search and ground penetrating radar search, but there was no probable cause for search warrants, which is why they needed the owner's permission. After the search, police do not believe Maura's body is on the property. Strelzin said, we certainly didn't believe there was any credible evidence at the house, and the search was just done to cross something off the list.
Well, could the body been at the house and been removed?
I don't know that it's out of the realm of possibility, right? I mean, we're talking a long time here. And the dog's alerted for something. Now, it could have been maybe an animal. I don't know. I've always heard that they're kind of trained to detect human remains.
Right.
So you have to wonder why they alerted. But this guy's saying, okay, we didn't think there was any credible evidence, but we did it anyway.
Yeah.
And to me, that's better than saying we're not going to do it because we don't think there's any credible evidence, because then you got another bit of ammunition there for the family to say, well, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I think by this point, this case was so high profile. Probably they felt like they had no choice. They got to do this.
Sure, yeah. We need to check it off the list.
Because they're getting criticized, right? All over forums and all over the internet. Fred Murray told reporters he wasn't satisfied with the search and believes police should dig in a wider area, saying per ABC, I thought we had a really good shot at being right, and I just don't know whether the police are right. If they had looked further into the corner, they might have come up with something.
Yeah, it's a tough call. You know, how much of the basement should you dig up? Can you dig up?
Yeah, while you're destroying these people's houses?
Yeah, because one, you're doing exactly that. You're destroying their basement. And then when it's all said and done, somebody has to foot that bill to put it back the way it was.
Yeah, I don't blame Fred.
No, not at all.
I never blame the victim's family, but it's a common theme, right, from unsolved cases. Most families are never going to believe the police did everything they could do because the case is still unsolved. And as long as it is, there's going to be doubt that the police have done everything that they could. In July 2022, investigators conducted a ground search off Route 112 in Llandaff and Easton, about 4 miles from where Maura's car was found. Officials didn't release information about what, if anything, was found. Officials said there was no new information that prompted the operation, which is kind of strange that you just decide to do a ground search when you're saying no new information came in to prompt it. That year, Maura's sister, Julie, revealed previously unknown case details and the family's theories about what happened to Maura. The family consensus is that Maura was met with foul play, although the early theory was that Maura may have died by suicide. There was evidence that she wanted to return home. The police report stated that Maura hit a tree, but Julie revealed that a private analysis of the car by a vehicle reconstructionist showed The damage wasn't consistent with hitting a tree, and the car was drivable. According to Julie, as quoted by People, the hood was pushed back and buckled in the middle, causing the radiator to bend. The two recorded events must have happened when the vehicle was moving forward under its own propulsion, so the car was moving, meaning the damage didn't occur while she was parked or stopped. Julie also noted that a random Chrysler part was found in Maura's car. This was important because a suspicious person driving a white Jeep Grand Cherokee 7 miles from the accident site fled when the police arrived. Chrysler manufactures Jeep, and there was also a white scuff mark on the Saturn's rear bumper.
Okay, so that changes things a little bit, right? I mean, did someone bump her from behind and caused her to go into the ditch, purposely or accidentally?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the theory that her family's working off of. Julie alleged there were several breaks in protocols and instances of incompetence by police. She also alleged that the police never followed up on a handwritten phone number and address left in Maura's car. The number and address belonged to the condo in Bartlett, New Hampshire. Julie called the number, and the owner told her they'd never been contacted by law enforcement before. So I think this kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? Calls made by Maura on her phone. Police didn't seem to follow up on those. Now, apparently there was a handwritten phone number and address in the car, and they never talked to the people at that number or address, allegedly. And if not, to me, that is an issue.
It is an issue.
It's been 21 years since Maura Murray went missing. She's not been seen or heard from. There has been no activity on her cell phone or bank account. Maura is described as a white female, 5'7", 120 to 125 pounds at the time of her disappearance, with green-blue eyes and light brown hair. Maura was seen on surveillance footage at an ATM wearing a dark jacket and jeans. If you have information about Maura, you can contact the New Hampshire State Police at 603-271-2663 or email coldcaseunit@dos.nh.gov. You can also call the FBI VICAP at 800-634-4097 or email vicap@fbi.gov. So as we wrap this one up, Gibbs, like we said, this is a very infamous case. There are a lot of really in-depth podcasts out there.
Oh, yeah.
That, go over a lot more of the theories and angles than we're able to do here in one episode.
Even her own sister has a podcast.
Yes. And people should check that out if they want to, learn more. What I will say is, to me, there's enough smoke here to at least question the competency of the police investigation. I think you'd have to say that.
Yeah, I think you do.
Should they have searched in the area where she was heading? If they didn't, then yeah, I think that's a problem. You don't follow up on the calls she made before she disappeared. You don't follow up on this handwritten note that has a phone number and address. If all these things are true, that's not a good look for the police. It's really not. I also think, coming out so quickly with the suicide announcement, I don't agree with that. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I do too.
Because what was the evidence that you used to make that determination?
It was just a short period of time from the time that the bus driver seen her and talked to her and went home and reported her accident to the police. By the time the police got there, it was a really short window. So you just got to wonder what happened in that short period of time.
Yeah. And like I always tend to think in some of these, no access of the bank account, except for beforehand, right? She only had $280 in her account anyway.
Yeah.
The likelihood that she just ran off and started a new life, to me, it just doesn't add up.
No.
She had a lot of things going for her. Her dad, and her family obviously loved her. her dad was doing all kinds of stuff for her. He was getting ready to buy her a newer car, new to her. She had the fiance. I just don't see the signs that would make me think she just voluntarily decided to go off and start a new life. And she's never, hit the radar or hit the grid or anything like that. What seems to me to be more likely is, was she disoriented? Did she have a head injury? Maybe she tried to walk. Get it? It was snowing. It was cold. She died of hypothermia, but for whatever reason, her body has never been found.
Right.
Or did she meet with foul play?
Yeah. Was it
possibly at the hands of another motorist who, this white Cherokee that hit her car, or somebody who just was driving by and asked her if she needed help?
So many possibilities.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. But you feel for the family.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they don't really have any answers.
No, it's been over 20 years now, and I don't know if they feel that they're close to finding anything out.
Well, I would say probably not, because I don't think they have a lot of confidence in the investigation.
Yeah.
And what's been done. And you do, you lose some things, right? If you don't do some of these things early on, there could potentially be some critical things that you could have learned then that you can't find out now.
Yeah, it's too late.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But that's it for our episode on Maura Murray. Like we said, there is a lot of resources out there if you want to learn more about this case. People have done very, very deep dives into this case. We got a voicemail, Gibbs. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hi, Mike and Gibby. This is Marie calling from Ottawa, Canada's beautiful capital and never to become your 51st state. I love your podcast. I've been listening to it for years now. Actually, your podcast is what got me turned on to true crime. Really enjoy both of you. I love the banter back and forward. And I'll tell you, I think people will think this is crazy, but I used to watch true crime stuff on TV at night when I was in bed. And my husband bought me these things called sleep bands, which are Bluetooth. It's kind of like a headband. And now I go to bed every night listening to true crime, and it's usually your true crime. So you can tell your wives that you're in my ears at night. Truly enjoyable. I love how down to earth you are. And these days, the only thing I consume from the United States are my podcasts. So keep it up. It's wonderful. It's great. And keep your own time ticking. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the voicemail. We appreciate it.
Very nice.
And we've said it before, Gibbs, but we love when people listen as they go to sleep, while they're sleeping.
Absolutely.
Heck, you can just turn it on and let it roll if you're not even there.
And then just listen the next morning again.
The more downloads, the better for us.
Yeah, just keep listening. Just have it on constant play.
Yes. All right, buddy. That is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a trained killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z,
Every human being we save is one less to fight.
and Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
With so many options,
Why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.